Kensukes Kingdom by Michael Morpurgo. Continuing from page 153. The shots cracked so close now, spitting the air and echoing round the cave. There were distant yells of triumph. I knew only too well what this meant. After that, the hunt moved away. We could hear no more voices, just the occasional shot, and then nothing. The forest had fallen silent. We stayed where we were for hours. I wanted to venture out to see if they had gone, but Kensuke would not let me. He sang all the time, and the orangutans stayed huddled around us until we heard the sound of the outboard motor starting up. Even then, Kensuke still made me wait a while longer. When at last we did emerge, the junk was already well out to sea. We searched the island for Kikambu, sang for him, called for him, but there was no sign of him. Kensuke was in deep despair. He was inconsolable. He went off on his own, and I let him go. I came across him shortly after, kneeling over the bodies of two dead gibbons, both mothers. He was not crying, but he had been. His eyes were filled with hurt and bewilderment. We dug away a hole in the soft earth on the edge of the forest and buried them. There were no words in me left to speak, and Kensuke had no songs left to sing. We were making out sorrowful way back home along the beach when it happened. Kikambu ambushed us. He came charging out the trees, scattering sand at us, and then climbing up Kensuke's leg and wrapped himself round his neck. It was such a good moment, a great moment. That night Kensuke and I sang Ten Green Bottles over and over again, very loudly, over our fish soup. It was, I suppose, a sort of wake for the two dead gibbons, as well as an ode to joy for Kikambo. The forest outside seemed to echo our singing. But in the weeks that followed, I could see that Kensuke was brooding on the terrible events of that day. He set about making a cage of stout bamboo at the back of the cave to house the orangutans more securely in case the killer men ever returned. He kept going over and over it, how he should have done this before, how he would never have forgiven himself if Kikambu had been taken, how he wished the gibbons would come when he sang, so he could save them too. He cut down branches and brush from the forest and stacked them outside the cave mouth so that they could be pulled across to disguise the entrance of the cave house. He became very nervous, very anxious, sending me often up to the hilltop with the binoculars to see if the junk had returned. But as time went by, as the immediate threat receded, he became more his own self again. Even so, I felt he was always wary, always slightly on the edge. Because he was keeping so many of my paintings now, we found we were running out of good painting shells. So early one morning, we set off on an expedition to find some more. We scoured the beach, heads down, side by side, just a few feet apart. There was always an element of competition with our shell collecting. Who would find the first, the biggest, the most perfect? We had not been at it long, and neither of us had yet to find a single shell, when I became aware that he had stopped walking. "Mika-san," he breathed, and he was pointing out to the sea with a stick. There was something out there, something white, but too defined, too shaped to be a cloud. We had left the binoculars behind, with Stella yapping at me all the way. I raced back down along the beach, up the track to the cave house, grabbed the binoculars, and made for the top of the hill. A sail! 2 sails! 2 white sails! I bounded down the hillside, back into the cave, and pulled out a lighted stick from the fire. By the time I reached the beacon, Kensuke was already there. He took the binoculars from me. And looked himself. "Can I light it?" I asked. "Can I?" All right, Mika-san, he said. All right. I thrust the light stick deep into the beacon and amongst the dry leaves and the twigs at its cores. It lit almost instantly, and very soon flames were roaring up into the wood, licking out at us as the wind took them. We backed away at the sudden heat of it. I was disappointed. There were so many flames. I wanted smoke, not flames. I wanted towering clouds of smoke. Do not worry, Mika-san, Kensuke said. They see this for sure, you see? We took turns with the binoculars. Still the yacht had not turned. They had not seen it. The smoke was beginning to billow up into the sky. Desperately I threw more and more wood onto the fire, until it was a roaring inferno of flame and dense smoke. I had thrown on the very last of the wood we had collected, when Kensuke said suddenly, Mika-san, it is coming. I think the boat is coming. He handed me the binoculars. The yacht was turning. It was very definitely turning, but I couldn't make out whether it was towards us or away from us. I don't know, I said. I'm not sure. He took the binoculars off me. I tell you, Mika-san, it come this way. They see us, I am very sure. It come to our island. Moments later, as the wind filled the sails, I knew he was right. We hugged each other there on the hilltop beside the blazing beacon. I leaped up and down like a wild thing, and Stella went mad with me. Every time I looked through the binoculars now, the yacht was coming closer and closer. She's a big yacht, I said. I can't see a flag. Dark blue hull, the Peggy Sue? Only then, as I said it out loud, did I begin to hope that it could possibly be her. Gradually, hope turned to belief, and belief to certainty. I saw a blue cap. My mother's cap? It was them! It was them! Kensuke! I cried, still looking through the binoculars. Kensuke! It's the Peggy Sue! It is! They've come back for me! They've come back! But Kensuke didn't reply. When I looked around, I discovered he was not there.